Hey guys, Kamina the Koach here. I am a little slow-mo today because I've started working in a warehouse and it's not a difficult job, but it is long, long hours and I'm tired. I'm ready to lay down and go to sleep now, and I slept about 9 or 10 hours last night. So, please forgive me on this. It's a video that I think needs to be done because I suspect I'm not the only one that feels this way. What I've discovered in my my journey into discovering what makes adoptees tick is that a lot of the things that we think that we feel that make us aliens, a lot of other people feel that way. So, for those of you that don't know, Kamina the Koach used to be a channel to help people work and live abroad. I lived abroad for 10 years in 8 different countries. When I came back to the United States, loneliness and isolation hit me in a different way in 2020 with COVID than it did a lot of people. I think it did for a lot of adoptees, especially those of us who are estranged from our adopters and not in or who weren't in reunion with their families. So I began my coming out of the fog, so they say, journey in January of 2021, and I have reunited with my mother and my father, my first mother and my first father's family. I'm no longer in reunion with my mother, her sister, and so my aunt and her children are still in contact with me. So anyways, so this video is about having children as an adoptee, and it seems like it's pretty common space that adoptees have children. A lot of adoptees have children, and it doesn't seem that they're conflicted about it. I, however, am quite conflicted about it at this age. So I just want to talk about all the reasons I was really desperate to have children, how that's changed, and just kind of looking at the reasons why people have children. So first of all, I'd like to start off by pointing out that a large part of what ends up being traumatic for adoptees is why their adopters adopted children in the first place. So a lot of women adopted because they were expected to have children and they had fertility issues. So that's never been my issue. I'm fertile and I can physically have children. Some people, I have heard, and as I've listened to stories, wanted to continue to expand their family. They enjoyed having a family and just don't want to be pregnant again. So they just, like having family. So another reason I think that, and I've heard that people adopt is because they want to do something good. They want to rescue a child. Like, please take off your cape. Like, really? I think probably the best reason to have children is because you just like having a family. You like being around kids. You have lots of love to give to them. And I think that that is probably, in my mind anyways, the only really good reason to have children. So my entire life I've desperately wanted children, and now examining all the reasons why, I think that I probably didn't want children for great reasons. So my primary reason for wanting children was I wanted my own family. I wanted to see people who shared DNA with me, and now that I have found my biological sister who I'm very close with, it's changed. What else? I didn't want to die alone. I think that's a really selfish reason to have children. I think the best gift you can give your children is to prepare for getting aged, so that they are not burdened with that stress of taking care of you as you get sick and older in life. I think that it is a true gift for children not to, for adult children not to have to worry about their elderly parents, and to know that they're going to be taken care of, and in a way that their parents want, that, you know, that they chose for themselves. So I think that that's a selfish motive as well. So not wanting to get old alone, wanting to see myself represented. I've also heard a lot of people say they want their legacy to live on. My partner has said as much, and want to see themselves, you know, want to leave themselves in the world. When the truth is, like, so I knew my great, of my adopters, I knew my great grandmother on both sides, I think. And past that, nobody really knows their family. Nobody knows, nobody remembers great greats and great great greats. So the most you can hope to go back is, or most you can hope to survive is like 2 generations, and then you kind of disappear. Nobody remembers who you are past that. So I don't think that's a valid reason to have children either. So that brings me to where I'm at right now. Gosh, I've been on my own since I was 14. Life has not always been easy and friendly for me. I've had to work very, very hard to take care of myself and to give myself the things that I believe that I need and deserve. And it's brought me to a place of where people could potentially look at how I feel about having children now and say that I'm selfish. But for me, I feel like really I'm at a point now where I'm really more at peace than I ever have been before. And almost unwilling to bring the chaos of children into my life, where, you know, because I fully believe that having a child means full-on sacrifice. Your needs and wants don't matter anymore. It's all about taking care of the child and fulfilling their needs and wants. And I don't know if I can ever be in that space again. I don't know if I was ever truly in that space, but I know now, as a mature 42-year-old, that I don't think that I want that. I know that parenting is a huge sacrifice, and I can look around me at a lot of stuff that I can say wholeheartedly I don't want to do when I raise children, and I can see that if you're not ready to sacrifice of yourself, that those things can potentially happen. So at the risk of sounding selfish, I don't think that I want to make that sacrifice, or that I'm willing to make that sacrifice, honestly. The only reason I can come up with right now that I'm willing to have children is because my partner really wants to have children, and I think he hasn't. So he used the generational thing, like he wants to, you know, leave a mark in the world. But I think really the reason he wants to have family is because he has a large family. He is very close with his family, and he just enjoys family. And I think that's why he wants to have a family, and I think that that's a noble reason. I don't, however, think that that is the best reason for a woman to have children, just because she feels like she owes that to her husband or her partner. What a predicament to be in. We were finally able to have a that sun is very intense. We were finally able to have a very clear discussion and conversation about it, and he didn't even think about the fact that post 40, I could, potentially go through a lot of miscarriages before we're successful. He's just thinking we get pregnant and that's it. And, I asked him, how many miscarriages are you willing to put me through in order for you to have a baby? And I really love that he kind of said, I never looked at it like that way, and I'm not willing to allow you to become a science project to have the baby. So I love that about him. It may be that in being together, because we're not physically together right now, he's in Arizona, I'm in South Carolina. It may be that in physically being together and in being around his family that I decide that I, again, want a family of my own. But the truth is I have a family now. I have a sister who has 2 children, and I love her and I love them. I love my partner's sister and her little boy. He's phenomenal. He's the cutest little boy. But the truth is I don't at this point feel like I love kids enough and love being around them enough to like want to have any of my own. So it may be that because I haven't actually been around a family in a very, very long time, it may be that in being around them that I decide that that's what I want. But right now I'm not really feeling that way. I'm also quite introverted, and noise bothers me a lot. Working in the warehouse that I'm working at, probably the biggest challenge is when noise kicks in, like somebody's using a power tool or people are being really loud. And I've had people at the warehouse say to me a couple of times, like, oh, you're trying to have kids? I'm like, yeah, I'm full on aware of that. I'm also an HSP, a highly sensitive person, and this is a genetic trait. This isn't just a personal preference. I'm really sensitive to light, sound, noise, and emotions. So, also a big test to patience and steadfastness when it comes to children, I'm sure. So, there's no real solution here. I guess I was just putting it out there for other women, other adoptees who have potentially felt this way. Maybe even men. I think I've heard men say this more than women, and I think people are really quick to call men selfish when they say this, and even quicker to call women selfish. But I've done quite a bit of thinking through it, and I think choosing to take care of me is not really a selfish choice, because no one else has ever prioritized me. So again, it may be different as time goes by and I'm with someone who chooses to prioritize me. I may eventually be in a place where I'm able and willing to prioritize someone other than my partner. But for right now, I'm definitely not feeling like it's something that I want to do, and it's taken quite a bit of bravery to admit that and put that out into the universe. But I think it's really important to be honest with myself and with my partner. And I think that it's a conversation that women have to feel comfortable enough to talk about, and to not feel pressured into having children just because society expects them to, and because their partner expects them to. So that's all really. If you can relate, please feel free to drop me a comment. If you have felt the same way, I would love to hear from you. If you have taken the other road and you've had children and against your better judgment, I'd love to hear from you too. So if you know somebody who is struggling with this, please feel free to share. And I would love to engage in this conversation with you. So until next time, this is Kamina the Koach, wishing you love, light, peace, and joy.